I'm going to be the first one to proclaim the new King of the United Kingdom, though I have no particular authority to do so. Anyway, here it goes. Whereas it has pleased Almighty God to call to his mercy our late Sovereign Lady Elizabeth Alexandra Mary of blessed and glorious memory, we, therefore, members of Her late Majesty's Privy Council, together with the Lord Mayor of London, aldermen and citizens of London, representatives of the Commonwealth, and other principal gentlemen of quality, do publicly proclaim, therefore, by one consent of tongue and heart, we acknowledge that by the decease of the Queen, the crown doth solely and rightfully pass to our undoubted sovereign, the high and mighty Prince Charles Louis Philip Arthur George, who shall reign as Charles III, King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and his other realms and possessions beyond the seas, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, to whom his lieges do acknowledge all faith and constant obedience with hearty and humble affection, beseeching God, by whom all kings and queens do reign, to bless the royal Prince Charles with long and happy years to reign over us. God save the King. Well, anyway, those are the words which will be proclaimed tomorrow from St. James's Palace, the official residence of the British royal family, which is just across the road from Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace is far better known, but it's actually St. James's Palace is their official residence, which is why foreign ambassadors are accredited as ambassador to the court of St. James. It shall also be proclaimed from the Royal Exchange in the City of London, from Mercat Cross in Edinburgh, and every borough council, county council, and so forth is supposed to do so. Now, there was a rumour for several years that Prince Charles, when he inherited, King Charles as he is now, it's hard to bring myself to say that, was going to take one of his middle names, George, and reign as King George of that name, the seventh. But apparently that rumour has been scotched. So the announcement was made at 6:31 Greenwich Mean Time that Her Majesty the Queen had died this afternoon, so died some hours earlier, because it was 12:30 when the statement was put out from Buckingham Palace that the Queen was gravely ill. The doctors are very concerned about this. We're keeping her under close supervision. The royal family were returning to Balmoral. So when did she actually die? That announcement, I think, was at 12:30 they made it, 2 o'clock it got published, something like Yalda Hakim, that Afghan Australian BBC journalist, she tweeted at 3 o'clock that the Queen had already died and it was removed. At 2 o'clock, the BBC interrupted their ordinary programming and they all donned black, maybe because they already knew that she had died, but they weren't saying it back then. So I think that somewhat gave the game away that she had died. I was saying, well, why are you wearing it if she's not actually dead yet? Because I was saying she could hang on for a few days. These things are difficult to predict. Doctors who work and they say, you think the person's going to die in minutes and they rally and last several more days, last a week, even longer. People are at death's door. I know a woman who's given a 50% chance of dying that day. 5 years later, she's hale and hearty and walking around, healthy for a woman her age. So it was surprising. These things are difficult to forecast. People can get a second wind, a new lease of life. But unfortunately, with Her Britannic Majesty, it was not to be. So they could have elongated her stay on Earth, but they chose not to stretch it out. Perhaps she didn't want to live much longer. The cause of death shall not be disclosed. It never is in the case of royalty. It is noised that she died of bone cancer, and it was bruited around that she had chosen not to continue treatment several months ago. She was going to meet her maker. Died. So yeah, just 2 days ago, there she was up, and Boris Johnson flew to step down as Prime Minister. Liz Truss took over. So quite astonishing to kiss her hand, and the Queen wasn't fit to travel anywhere else. So it was obviously a very rapid decline. The Queen willed herself to live through this Platinum Jubilee, perhaps willed herself to live through this transfer of power from one Prime Minister to another. But obviously, no one is immortal, and the Queen is not Lazarus either. So London Bridge is down. That will have gone out. Yeah. Someone said she died at 6:45 p.m. British time. Well, it was announced earlier than that, but she died several hours earlier. Her mother lived to 101, which obviously didn't guarantee that the Queen would live to the age of 101. Um, so even despite having the best medical care there is, yes, we shan't see her like again. She was almost universally respected. In 2012, her approval rating was over 90%. 90%. No British politician has ever got an approval rating anywhere even remotely approaching such an extraordinary statistic. So Liz Truss is the Prime Minister, and she donned a black dress to make a statement from the door of number 10 Downing Street a couple of hours ago. And it was delivered with a total lack of panache. She couldn't find the pathos for this kairos. She might as well have been reading a weather forecast. And then her attempt to echo Churchill really fell flat, that never have so many been so grateful for such sterling service, or something of that nature. Yes, and then the royal family, they flew up to Aberdeen. They drove to Balmoral, an hour's drive, to visit her, to say farewell. This is the last chance after say, come now, now, before she really gives up the get ghost. But Meghan Markle went too. She has a nerve. How dare she show her face around there after what she was saying not even a week ago, knowing the Queen was on death's door? She and Prince Harry grievously insulting the Queen, wounding her on her deathbed. They are just vile. The lowest of the low. It's just nauseating, sick that she should have the temerity to go to Balmoral. Anyway, I think there would have been a rather glacial reception for her. Yeah, the Queen is dead now, and maybe the Queen thought, my God, if Meghan Markle is coming, I'll just die now rather than see her. I'd rather go to hell if that's what I'm destined than meet that she devil, because surely hell hath no torments as ghastly as Meghan Markle. So the Queen's body will be taken down to London tomorrow, flown, probably lay in state in Westminster Hall for about 3 days, open 23 hours a day, 1 hour a day. In the middle of the night, they have to close it for cleaning. I'll see if I can file past a closed casket, of course. But you might have to wait several hours to get to file past it. Yeah, so London Bridge truly is down, and there was all sorts of chatter about it. The London Bridge plan, the plan for a funeral, was updated only this morning. I know from someone, a politician is involved in that. And the Queen had always said that she wished to die in Balmoral. That was known amongst her courtiers. So you don't think the king will reign very long? Well, yeah, because he was born in 1948, so he's not a youthful monarch, whereas the Queen took over at the age of 26. He's been hanging on and hanging on forever. So it's automatically he is the king. The proclamation will happen tomorrow in daylight hours. And the Privy Council went ahead, was going to go ahead with that. And it's the key woman involved in all this is actually Penny Mordaunt, because of her ministerial position. And by tradition, the monarch does not attend these proclamations, although Edward VIII was there looking through the window behind it at St James's Palace. So because she's Lord President of the Council, as in the Privy Council. A baby boober king now, indeed. Markle isn't at Balmoral. Oh, Harry went alone, thank God. Okay, well, hopefully she's banished from this realm. And the next day, the Privy Council will meet again, and the monarch will be present. So Charles is king. It happens instantaneously. Nothing has to be signed. There is no oath of office, but they're just proclaiming what we already know. Then they will have the funeral that will take place roughly 10 days from now. A big procession, a parade in London, obviously to take her body from wherever it is. Maybe first of all Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey, lay in three days in state there. A funeral there at lay in state in Westminster Hall, 1,000-year-old building, the oldest part of the of parliamentary complex, and then just across the street to Westminster Abbey, where many monarchs have had their funerals, and some of them are indeed laid to rest. And a funeral will take place there, conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury, who's the highest priest in England. And then thereafter, her body will be conveyed to St George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, and there'll be a private ceremony there, only for the family, no video cameras, and she'll be interred under the floor in the grave with her late husband, Prince Philip, who died in April 2021. In the summer next year, King Charles III's coronation will go ahead, which is not necessary, but they like to do it anyway. Okay, so the Queen is the second longest reigning monarch in world history, the longest being Louis XIV of France. So I'm very glad she lived longer than Mugabe, for example, lived to the age of 96, a monarch for over 70 years. That is Her Britannic Majesty, actively serving her people to only 2 days before her decease. The second Elizabethan age is over. I can scarcely believe it. I was saying to myself only this morning, it's unimaginable her not being there. Something so reassuring, seemingly immortal like that, and she's gone. I thrice came within a few meters of her, when her car passed by me at her Gold Jubilee celebrations, when she came out, oh yeah, at Ascot Royal Enclosure in 2000, with her mother, the Empress of India, just 2 years before the Empress of India died. And when was the third time? Or maybe does memory play me false? I mean, been in the same room as King Charles III once when he came to Eton in 1997 when he was in upper school for speeches. Right, and I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Make sure to subscribe to me on Patreon and donate on PayPal, georgecallahan79 at gmail.com. Toodaloo.